Early in race week, the caravans come rolling in from the speed shops of Europe and America. But to claim space in this paddock, a manufacturer must have unqualified confidence in his product. With an excellent record of past achievement in the race behind them, the Standard Triumph team once again came to Le Mans. 3 Triumph Spitfires, with one of the new 2 litres as service car. Ray Henderson, chief mechanic, and John Lloyd, assistant chief engineer, well knew how demanding was the task which confronted them and their team. Long hours of patient research and development had gone into the preparation of the cars. High-port aluminium head, high-lift cam, increased compression ratio, special aerodynamic GT body in glass fiber and aluminium. An interesting and a genuine production prototype from which much could be learned. Different people come to Le Mans for different reasons, but the Spitfire's drivers reflect the essentially international atmosphere of the race. In motor racing, nothing is certain, but as far as their preparation was concerned, the Triumph team seemed to have things pretty well taped. Pit manager Lyndon Mills plays host to the Swiss distributor Pierre Blanc, while the group accountant, Mr. Boardman, maintains a watching brief. But the presiding genius and the chief engineer of this project in every sense was Harry Webster himself. Heading the drivers, one of the up-and-coming names in British racing, David Hobbs. Bob Tullius from the United States. From France, J.L. Manard, a newcomer to the Triumph team. And from Holland, Robbie Slottermacher, displaying an unusual taste in hats. And talking of hats, at Le Mans you can see just about everything. France was, as usual, represented by the smaller capacity cars. From Germany, a strong Porsche entry. All British, the Team Elite Lotus. Anglo-American, Carroll Shelby's AC Cobras. Old-timer, the E-Type Jaguar. Newcomer, the Sunbeam Tiger with the big American Ford V8 engine. But certainly the most publicized entry of them all, the 3 official works team cars from Ford America to challenge Ferrari. And Ferrari had no less than 144 pistons between them. In the pre-race personality parade, some faces may need a label. Not so the sad little figure of Pedro Rodriguez, now without his brother, nor that merry little American Richie Ginther. "5 minutes to go, and 55 drivers move to their marks. Number 20 there is Vaccarella, works Ferrari, but he's in trouble. Into the S's for the first time. It's the Ferraris of Rodriguez, Graham Hill, David Piper, and Mike Salmons-Aston. Near Park leads the Cobras from Sears. The Fords have made gentle starts, and Phil Hill is left on the line. Verrier CD points the tail. And back in the pit area, they've got about 3 minutes left to get themselves sorted out for the 24-hour vigil. Phil Hill gets the works board going at last, while Rodriguez leads Graham Hill and John Surtees, who's moved up, around Arnage. They're on tiptoe in the grandstands, on tenterhooks in the pits. And it's still the three Ferraris who lead. Rodriguez, Hill and Surtees flashing past the pits at over 150 miles an hour. But there's been a first lap spin and there's oil on the road. Second time at the S's, and now ploughing his way up through the field, Richie Ginther is fourth with the Ford. Still some anxiety. Is anyone missing? There's Hobbs with the leading Spitfire, lapping swiftly but without fireworks, exactly as planned. There's a very great deal at stake, and how many times have chances of success been thrown away by overexcitement in those hectic opening laps? Mike Rothschild with the second Spitfire and Manard with the third. And already the first retirement. David Piper's North American racing team Ferrari with a burst oil filter. The French entered Lotus Elan was also in trouble. A cruel disappointment so early in the race. Meantime, Richie Ginther has fought his way to the front. Graham Hill, Surtees and Rodriguez now fourth. A ferocious battle for the early lead, with one Ford amongst the Ferraris. Increasing activity in the pits. The French entered Lotus Elan rejoins the struggle, but now the Alpines bring French racing blue into the one place the highly partisan crowd hates to see it. Streamlined lightness makes for speed on the straights, but you need reliability at Le Mans. Bob Tullius, off duty, watches as Masson rejoins. In the Triumph pit, all is well. Amongst the Ferraris, Vaccarella, number 20, has recovered from his poor start. And here, with the Alpines and Chris Lawrence's Deep Sanderson, David Hobbs is happy in his work. Mike Rothschild, too, is well in the groove. Behind Ginther, Surtees now leads Rodriguez and Graham Hill. Here's David Hobbs at the S's. And here's Bob Grossman's GT Ferrari, Manard on the third Spitfire and Colin Davis's Porsche. Mike Park's Ferrari has been into the pits. The Alphas too have their problems. Here's Businello's Julia stopped too soon for the driver's peace of mind. But now the big cars are due in on schedule, and Dan Gurney's at the ready. The leader at the pits, but while Richie Ginther reports that all is well to Ford team manager John Wyer, the Ferraris rush past into the lead. No call for anxiety here. But on the circuit there is. A crash on the very fast right-hander under the bridge, and it's Mike Rothschild. A dangerous place indeed to hit the bank, but fortunately the driver is not seriously hurt, thanks largely to the Spitfire's immensely strong structure. However, the car is virtually written off as a result of a touch with one of the big cars overtaking. The marshals are brave and efficient. A multiple accident is avoided. The race roars on. After 2¼ hours, the Spitfires make their first routine stop. As David Hobbs bails out, the mechanics take over. Drivers and team manager confer. Unhurried calm combined with split-second efficiency is the key to success at Le Mans, and the experienced Triumph team works well. The young Dutchman, Robbie Slotemaker, is a driver of great character, and here character and self-discipline are at a premium. Robbie soon settles down to lap as ordered at 4 minutes 58 seconds, 102 miles an hour, as regular as a clock. Graham Hill has retained the wheel and third place to Surtees and Ginther, whilst Guichet has taken number 20 over from Vaccarella and is close behind fourth. The young Frenchman Manin and Pio continue steadily with the second Spitfire, undismayed by all this drama. Innes Island's GT Ferrari is now ahead of Phil Hill's Ford, and it seems to be getting misty at Tertre Rouge. The mist becomes a positive fog, always a hazard at Le Mans. But by the time Noble came through, he must have regretted that radar was about the only equipment missing from his huge Issot Revolta. This, however, was no ordinary fog, just the Balasat Dubois Tiger, convincing the other drivers that excessive smoking is a very undesirable habit. Meantime, Peter Proctor and Jimmy Bloomer kept the other Sunbeam breaking through their teammates' clouds. Richie Ginther and Maston Gregory struggled vainly to regain the lead for Ford. And at the famous Hippodrome Cafe, the experts sensed drama again. The Rodriguez Ferrari was out with a damaged cylinder head joint. Once again, an early pacemaker had no more to show for it than a temporary lap record at 131 miles an hour. As dusk crept towards the circuit, Ford hopes faded with the light. The Atwood-Schlesser car caught fire, and the Ginther-Gregory gearbox gave up. Both the privately entered Jaguars were in trouble, and while the crowd started to relax, the drivers settled down for the long, hard struggle of the hours of darkness. Some, perhaps, less calmly than others. The crowd woke to the news of the Ford defeat. The Hill-McLaren gearbox had failed at 5 a.m. when they laid fall. There were 3 Ferraris in the lead. The night, though fine, had taken a heavy toll. Peter Bolton's AC and Baghetti's Ferrari had left the road at speed, and the retirement total had reached 25 cars. Among them, the French-driven Spitfire, which had been eliminated when Mana crashed unconscious from fumes caused by previous damage in a spin. Meantime, the little MGB of Paddy Hopkirk and Andrew Hedges had run steadily on. And so too had the Spitfire of David Hobbs and Robbie Slottermarker. As Robbie reported to team manager Lyndon Mills, neither man nor the car showed much evidence of the fact that they had been racing now for 15 consecutive hours. So routine was the pit stop that Ray Henderson decided he had no need for his megaphone. But John Lloyd's face betrayed something of the tension as David Hobbs took over with 9 hours still to go. Now some strangely assorted struggles were breaking out. Biscaldi's Alpha, for instance, leading Noble's 5.5-litre Issot Revolta with the Belgian Ferrari about to pass. Amongst the Grand Touring cars, battle royal with the lone Gurney Bondurant Cobra number 5 holding off the pursuing Ferrari GTOs and having at 5 a.m. been third behind Surtees number 19 and Vaccarella number 20. The Spitfire's new close-ratio all-synchromesh gearbox was making light of its task, and the car was in fact faster on the straights than the previous 2-litre triumphs of earlier Le Mans success. Throughout the race, the law is much in evidence. Even so, things seem to have a habit of disappearing, even apparently from the pit counter itself. But these boys are determined to miss nothing in the Alpine pit stop. I see you stand like greyhounds. But had Shakespeare seen that, he might have said gorillas. Isn't it astonishing how the legs somehow seem to stretch when you've had a bit of a lie down? The privately entered Dutch Porsche number 33 was now challenging its works colleagues in the class. And now here in the swerves of Indianapolis and Arnage is an opportunity to observe road holding characteristics. But the big moments come when the leading car pit stops. Vaccarella and Guichet have now got a stranglehold on the race with their 3.3-litre Ferrari prototype. Hill and Bonnier, with the similar Maranello-entered car, are 7 laps down. Surtees and Bandini have dropped back to third, but it's a Ferrari's benefit for the outright victory. However, Le Mans is much more than just one motor race. Only a big prototype of over 3 litres can possibly hope to complete the greatest distance in the 24 hours. The Triumph team were here to prove the Spitfire's speed and reliability to the world in the best way possible. And they were succeeding as the weary hours dragged on. Vaccarella and Guichet in the lead. Hill and Bonnier second, but now number 24, the Berlis Bianchi GT Ferrari, was trying desperately to catch Gurney's Cobra, leading the category and 4th overall. A Charlie Chaplin walk brings a touch of comedy to the Triumph pit, but this should be the last scheduled stop and the atmosphere is tense. The car looks all right, feels all right, smells all right, though David Hobbs doesn't seem to think so. This time their master's voice is heard, and Hobbs leaps eagerly and literally back into the race for the last time. If you want to know the time, ask a policeman, but here there's no need. When this lot march, there's 10 minutes left of the race. Lyndon Mills calculates they'll just get in 2 more laps. But each of these dying minutes can seem an hour long. And there he goes, and they've made it. 271 laps, 3,658.61 kilometers is the official distance. 2,273 miles at 94.7 miles an hour for 24 hours. A superb performance. To Vaccarella and Guichet, all honor for their victory. And of their second place, Graham Hill and Joe Bonnier may well be proud. France wins the handicap as usual, so everyone's happy. And Triumph are proud to be one of the 4 all-British cars to finish in the total of only 24 from the 55 who started. There's no need to ask for a smile, please, for the camera. For David Hobbs, Robbie Slottermarker, and the Triumph Spitfire have distinguished themselves.